I think the agency business model is facing real challenges at the moment, with clients taking planning and even creative in-house. And ironically, this comes at a time where the advertising business is doing better than ever before. Some of the most exciting businesses of our times, Google, Groupon, Facebook, are powered by advertising. But this agency business model we've been plugging away at for 60 years is under real threat. I worry about the future for the big global advertising networks. I think it's ironic that they call themselves networks, but they're not actually networked. They're monoliths. Their approach is, if you need to do some search engine marketing, you buy a search engine marketing company, swallow them up. Whereas a genuine network is more like an ecosystem where you work with a group of like-minded people on an ad hoc basis and then go your own separate ways. We now exist in a very busy media landscape, and clients increasingly need to take risks to stand out. They can't just spend their way into people's minds anymore. They've got to actually do something great to be noticed, and that involves taking some risks. And if they can outsource that risk to their agency, it's a great way for them to work. What I love is the fact that we're living through a period of chaos that the internet has caused. We don't know what the new model is going to be like. We're 10 years into trying to find out. We're probably 30 years from getting there. And I'm really excited about living through that period of change. But it seems few other people aren't, and they're desperately trying to cling on to the past. The future of the agency model for me goes in two quite different directions. One is small groups of brilliantly innovative lateral thinkers choreographing ideas on behalf of clients, and also choreographing the network of partners necessary to deliver those. The other model is very narrow specialists in doing something, the very best in the world at doing a very narrow thing. And those two types of companies working together in an ecosystem. But what's key is both of them can be quite small. There's no need for very large monolithic groups. In either case, I think the future of agencies is a lot less fixed. It's a lot more permeable than it is today. It's less about I work here or I don't work here. A lot more use of freelancers, a lot more part-time, people doing startups on the side. It's also a lot more hard-working as well, a lot more entrepreneurial. We've got to be as committed to running great businesses as our clients are, not just swanning around in our glass offices with our marker pens. In the 80s, we had the Saatchi brothers and, Ferrari driving, champagne swilling, braces wearing ad men. But now the image has gone backwards to the 50s and Mad Men. In fact, the only exposure of advertising on television is The Apprentice, where the image of advertising is just some anodyne, anonymous types sat in the background judging the efforts of the idiots who populate that show. At the moment, the advertising industry fetishizes tech startups and wishes they were like them. But actually, I think those startups and that tech culture is one of the biggest threats to advertising, because that's a sexy place to work. It's sexy to be a geek, to be a coder now. And if you are one of those people, where are you going to work? M&C Saatchi or Google. And Google have got very, very clever at attracting that kind of talent, and they have the right package, they have the right environment. As an industry, we've got to work out how to get those people to want to come and work with us. It's a fantastically exciting and healthy time for the advertising business broadly. But all the action is outside of the agency business model, really. Just look at Google. Turned the whole industry on its head 10 years ago when they introduced AdWords. And most people working in London ad agencies didn't even notice that they'd stolen half of their revenue overnight, effectively. Fast forward to 2011, and Google are winning awards at the Cannes Advertising Festival. These guys are coming to eat our lunch, and we haven't done enough to rise to the challenge. For the 10,000 years before TV, we operated in a marketplace, a physical marketplace, where you went there, you looked at what was on offer, you grilled the stallholder about how the goods were produced, you chatted to the people about what they were buying, what their experience of it was. And TV came along and changed all that. We were sat in the corner of the living room, hypnotised by the magic box, and we bought what it told us to buy. But the internet has brought us back to the marketplace model. It's a different marketplace now. It's a virtual marketplace, and it's a much bigger marketplace. But we're back again to talking to companies about how they produced what they produced, talking to each other about our opinions of those products. And for my money, it's a much healthier way of being, much healthier way of doing commerce. I think most advertising is awful. I mean, I walk down the street and I'm so angry. I see these posters and they're talking in a language that is so abstract and so patronising. It just drives me mad. It makes me ashamed of the industry I work in. And it doesn't have to be that way. There were fantastic case studies of brilliant advertising, but there's so few compared to the morass of crap that's out there. And I want us to make it better. Hugh MacLeod is a prolific blogger, goes by the name of Gaping Void, and he draws cartoons. One of his most famous cartoons says, if people talk to you the way advertising talks to you, you'd punch them in the mouth. I think most advertising has a certain style. It's contrived, it's inhuman, it's patronising. And I think it can only have got like that because the people making it exist in a bubble of tracking studies and sitting behind glass walls in focus groups. And we've got this fantastic tool on the internet that means it doesn't have to be like that. We can actually reach out through forums like Mumsnet or with our fans on Facebook and talk to real people in real language about what they want to see. After the dot-com crash in 2001, a new kind of hybrid or total agency came along who can offer the upstream strategic advice, who do fundamentally get digital because they were born into that era, but also do stuff, make advertising as a product. And I think it's agencies like that that will really prosper in the future. If I was to look at the advertising industry today negatively, I see the newspaper industry or the music industry, something that's just had this tidal wave overtake it, that its business model is basically dead and it hasn't even realised it yet. More positively though, I see real appetite for change. I see new kinds of agencies emerging. I see a hunger to work in a really different way, to embrace technology, to break down the barriers between companies and customers, to pioneer interesting new collaborative ways of being creative. And that's the side of the industry I exist in, and I love it.